Welcome back to another week of my shenanigans. It is your faves, Taromuva, and let's go ahead and hop into it. So if you tuned in last week, I did the Watchman part 1. This is part 2. I know you can read. I don't know why I said that, but anyway. So if you watched, definitely go watch that video first. And also, if you have not watched the Watchmen series on HBO, definitely check that out. You don't have to watch the original movie if you don't want to, but it is really nice for context. So last week in part 1, I introduced how Hooded Justice discovered this book on mesmerism and projectors that he found in like the Cyclops, one of their hiding places. So, and the reason why that was the biggest thing that I kind of honed in on, is because it represents MK Ultra. And also in the last, episode, I mentioned that the CIA used this method to control. They said that it was declassified and they stopped doing it, but we see it everywhere in the media. And so in this episode, I'm gonna give you examples as to where else we see it and how significant it is for specifically because I am Black and I really want to send out empowering messages for the Black community. For us, like last week I mentioned how DMX talked about they say that his death ended in one way, but I'm completely positive that, I'm gonna say allegedly just so nobody come at me, but it's just like when he started to notice that his music was being used for this agenda to keep Black people in his mind state of sex, drugs, and killing motherfuckers for no apparent reason, just because, just over stupid shit, and that's the agenda that's being pushed for the Black community, because our history has been so diluted, perverted, changed, switched around, flip, dip, all that shit. And Black people don't really understand our power. Like, it just doesn't stop with, like, people don't know what we are capable of past before slavery. And it's like, our people built the pyramids. Like, there's multiple pyramids all over the world. And we were, the people in Africa were the first individuals who, not the first, but basically, because it's like the, specifically like the Dogon people, we have the Aboriginals in Australia, and then we have the Native Americans. They were the main individuals where other beings from other star systems came down and gave us information on certain things. And it's like when people discovered the Dogon people like 60 to 80 years ago, I can't remember the exact date, and they knew about the Sirius star system, or the Sirius star that's about 8 million light years away from us, and they knew like the other stars around them in that star system. So it's just like, but again, they want to call those individuals primitive and shit like that. And to be real, this shit right here is primitive, because what we were capable of doing is we had the capability to speak to each other telepathically. Like, how many times have you been thinking about someone and they call, then they call like right after, like it's just like y'all are connected? Or how many times have you seen certain individuals in your dreams, and it's like, and sometimes you have a full-fledged conversation or you interact with each other in specific way, it's like a whole thing. So telepathy is a real thing, and we just kind of scratch the surface of what we are capable of doing. And even with places like Atlantis, which is very much a real place, it existed. I believe it still does exist, but again, knowledge is power, that kind of shit. So the downfall of Atlantis is that they stopped going within, they stopped respecting Mother Nature, and they started to look for external things to help them feel more whole, which is not how that shit works. You have to start within first, and then everything radiates outward. Because they started to try to conquer other civilizations and things of that nature, and then Mother Nature was like, you pushing it, you really pushing it. So and then this is kind of side stuff, but the thing with Atlantis is like, their downfall during those times was that they just lost touch with what really mattered. You know, they thought that these external things was going to kind of make them feel or be something different. You know, they felt like the grass was greener, or like they felt like the individuals over there were it's a lot of shit. It has more to do with the ego. That's really it. The ego and pride kind of put things into it. It just kind of fucks shit up. And it's like, when you are growing closer to God and the universe and source, whatever you want to call, you know, Allah, whatever you choose to give that the creator, whatever you choose to call the creator, you don't need those things. It's not that serious, you know. And again, and not to say that you don't deserve luxury or anything like that. It's just like, that's not what you need in order to feel whole. Because then something I always say, like, I don't chase a damn thing. I don't chase anything, I attract. So, and that's the thing that they kind of forgot. It's like, you don't have to chase, conquer, control all of this shit, you know. And they got into trouble where they started to play God. The Atlanteans started to play God because they started doing experiments, and it got weird. It got real weird, which is why we have these images and stories about, what's it called? Chimera. That's what it's called. Chimera. So that's why we got those creatures like that, because that's not natural, not that I know of. So it's just like, they were creating shit like that, and they were also trying to create they weren't the only ones, but they were trying to create a more submissive type of human. So they would mix human with different types of animals and shit like that. It got weird. And so Mother Earth and other entities were like, we are not having this shit. Fuck all that. So, which is why, one of the reasons why the Great Flood happened. So, you know, that, okay. But anyway, bringing it back to mesmerism, MK Ultra, that bullshit. So I wanted to bring in some examples of why this shit is so significant, because again, it's portrayed in media as this shit is, it's made to, like, I mentioned last week that it's repetition. You know, it's repeatedly in our faces. It's repeatedly in our music. It's repeatedly everywhere. So it's like, we see it, and over time, we've kind of just viewed this shit as normal. So I'm gonna give you some examples of movies, some TV shows. Of course, it mentioned it in the Watchman because, you know, it mentioned mesmerism. And I referenced last week how mesmerism, or MK Ultra, or this type of like subconscious reprogramming, is very prevalent in the Black community, because they use it. These companies hire these 360, you know, NBA YoungBoy, all them other acronyms, and they get them to sign these deals, and they get them to push this agenda, which is why DMX was died or murdered. But it's like, DMX did not follow the formula, and that's how it literally, his career went to like, as soon as Prince is another one. And I'm gonna get to Prince in a second. Prince is another one, because he started to talk about the chemtrails, and he mentioned the movie The Matrix, which is a documentary. Watch that movie and see how many connections you can make to real life. I promise you. Maybe I'll do a video on that one too, but essentially it's like, one quick thought with The Matrix. A lot of spiritual people and gurus or conspiracy people, they will say that we have to escape from the matrix, and we have to think about it as slightly different. We don't have to escape from anything. We just have to essentially rewire our frame of mind, rewire the way we think, the way we move, because this example of the matrix that we live in currently is what these the 1% and these elected actors have created through us. Like, again, I mentioned that, you know, God gave us the ability to control heaven and earth and this earthly realm. I mean, heaven and hell and this earthly realm. But again, we don't know our full power. We don't know the extent of what we're really capable of doing. So the thing is, there we go. These individuals, they know this, and they don't serve the same God, despite what you think. They do not. Okay, so there is a man by the name of Hermes Trismegistus, aka Hermes, aka Thoth, aka Mercury. I don't know for sure, but I believe it is also Enoch. If you've heard of the book of Enoch, it's one of the books of the Bible that is not in the Bible, but if you get the Ethiopian version, it does have it in there. And so I also believe Enoch is Archangel Metatron, because Metatron is the closest to humans because he used to be a human. I haven't found like specific evidence that that's the case, but I'm pretty sure it's all the same individual. At least, like, I don't know if I don't know if Enoch and Metatron equal Hermes Trismegistus, but we'll just, in this moment, we'll just say that they are. Anyway, essentially, Hermes Trismegistus, or Thoth, you know, we see him a lot he has the bird's head, the crane's head, in a lot of depictions where he has the human body, that head, and then he has a tablet. So he was the scribe, and he took notes of everything that happened in history, including what happened in Atlantis as well. So he has this book called The Three Initiates, and he has a couple other books as well. But essentially, he taught one of the things. This is like one of those occult knowledge type things, but one of the things that he speaks on is that these higher ups are using us to create the world that they want, which is why the poor remain poor and the rich get richer. This because they are creating the narrative. They are using us to create this reality, which is why we have to reformat how we approach the matrix. Because then you have to think of the matrix as a womb. Think of it, you know, because if you look at the yin and yang, people think that it's like negative and positive or good and evil. Yes, good and evil is a thing, but across the universe, it's not quite what you think it is. It's more so masculine energy versus feminine energy, and that has nothing to do with your orientation or anything like that. Because masculine energy is your confidence, the external world, how you move through the world, your willpower, your drive. The feminine energy is attraction, you know, magnetism, and the womb. You know, I mention this all the time when I reference the new moon. The black represents the womb. You know, seeds are grown in darkness, whether that be in the physical womb. It could be an idea. It also could be, you know, seeds as in like a garden. Like you grow seeds in the ground in darkness. So it's just like, we have to keep in mind that like it's like we have to think about like what seeds do we want to plant. You know, every single time that I look at the media and I see something that I don't like or don't agree with, I'm like, I don't accept that into my reality. And I just don't, because I'm not about to give this thing my fucking power that I've worked so hard to regain. Hell no. So that's why, you know, I don't fully sign on to the we gotta escape the matrix. We just have to reprogram it. That's essentially it. And that's like what is talked about in the movie The Matrix. It's like you have to figure out how to work with it to benefit you. And you can do that. You know, people manifest and do all this shit all the time. And like I mentioned with the mesmerism and the MK Ultra, and last week with Donald Irwin Cameron, where he used certain methods, especially like electroconvulsive therapy, to play things on loops, to reprogram the subconscious mind, to erase certain memories. I don't believe in erasing memories necessarily, because there's a lot of things that you learn from your past, but I do agree with you know, healing those aspects of you, and also making sure that you are taking steps with intention, making sure that you are manifesting the things that you want. Fear is going to equal fear. If you fear some shit, it's going to be a self-fulfilled prophecy. So it's like, and that's the thing with the media, they are using fear so that you create the reality that they fucking want. And this is like old knowledge. And we collectively have gone through like collective amnesia, where we don't even, like 150 years ago, we had moving sidewalks. And all of these like phone lines and shit, they were wireless. Like there's so much that we have forgotten that it's so much. Like, but again, the reason why I bring this up is because I wanted to bring in some examples of course, you know, we have to find ways to reprogram the matrix. The easiest way that you can do this is first by healing, because you need to make sure that you're not acting on subconscious things that happened in the past, or you're not moving you're not moving from a place of fear, and also you're not because your memories act as, or the way you react to certain things is a recording of what you saw in the past. So you have to be mindful. It's like, am I doing something new, or am I repeating the same things that I kept seeing? You know, like if you like, trigger warning, which I probably should have said that a long time ago, I'm so sorry, but if you've seen say for instance, I'm not gonna speak this on everybody, but I've seen it a few times where you have actually, perfect example, I have two examples anyway. So say for instance, you have a family, the dad is really abusive, and then because the son does not take the time to heal and to go through therapy and reprogram his subconscious mind to make sure that he doesn't react in the same way that he saw, he potentially could do the same thing when he finds you know, his potential partner. You know, that's kind of how it is. So it becomes like a generational curse. It becomes generational at that point. You know, same thing with negative mindsets, feeling unworthy, having an unhealthy relationship to money, feeling that like your, you know, mental health is not something that you should take into into consideration. But anyway, so bringing it back to MK Ultra in movies, and I'm also going to mention some signs of mind control, and then we're going to get into the frequency of 432 hertz, which I'm playing right now. So first one is Zoolander, which I'll play a clip of that.
Breathe deeply.
I like this song.
Of course you do.
Hello, Derek.
Hello.
Welcome to your relaxation time. Let this wonderful 80s classic soothe you. Just a nice, warm, happy time. Happy, happy, happy. Ha, 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 ha. Nothing to worry about at all. Just relax. Hey there, Derek. My name is Lil Cletus. I'm just a regular kid who wants you to know the real truth about child labor laws, okay?
Okay.
They're silly and outdated. In the good old days, kids as young as 5 could work as they pleased, from textile factories to iron smelts. Yippee, hooray! But today, the age-old right of children to work is under attack. From the Philippines to Bangladesh, and China and India, and South America too. Boo-hoo! But you can help these children, Derek, by killing the Prime Minister of Malaysia. He is bad.
What?
You learned martial arts. Ha, ha, ha. Prime Minister of Malaysia, bad. Martial.
And so what you just saw is like, he went into this day spa. They use electroconvulsive therapy. They use repetitive things. They use a little spiral, which is to hypnotize you. Hypnosis. So they use all this thing to reprogram him, to make him think that what he was doing was the right thing. And also he ended up like, you know, he was able to have like martial arts moves and shit like that, you know, moving like Bruce Lee on this motherfucker. So, and then another thing is Stranger Things, episode 3. It shows like season 1. Yes, whatever. But anyway, it's showing doctors testing on children, and there's also certain moments where 11 is put into a sensory deprivation tank. Like they show, like they show, art imitates life. Listen. So they show you, and then another example of how MK Ultra is shown in music, they show you exactly what the fuck they are doing. This is not a game. If you like, you have to stop thinking that this shit is not normal. For them to be pushing this so hard in the fucking media, they want you to feel that this is normal so that they continue to get away with it. Because it's like you're subdued, so you don't feel as though, ooh, I'm not really gonna make a fuss, because whatever. That's how they want you to, that's what they, look. Another example is American Ultra, which is Mike Howell. And he's like a stoner, but he's actually like a program killer. So it's like a trigger or like some sort of word, and then he snaps into like this killer type of, you know, this killer type of persona. Some other signs that mind control has been used on an individual is mental breakdowns, multiple personalities or alter egos. They normally have like a handler, so it's someone who's always near them. They're like the bodyguard or some shit like that. They could even be like a spouse. And then they normally, like I mentioned, they use like a trigger word or something like that to keep them in check, or to get them to switch into this other alter ego. And then another one is black and white, like I mentioned with the yin and yang. It shows you that they kind of bounce between the celebrity life or the celebrity persona to their regular life. So it's like as soon as someone says that trigger word, they're ready to perform every single time. Also, there's the beta sex kitten. If you see someone who has platinum blonde hair, they're wearing diamonds, they're in a bathtub, they're, what's the other one? They're, yeah, if you see them dressed as cats, that's like the biggest thing. So Marilyn Monroe was the first beta sex kitten. She was the first one that was successful. And now she was pushed into the media. She was shoved down everyone's fucking throats. And she became the new standard of beauty. So it's like when you see someone go blonde, wearing diamonds, wearing cheetah print shit, that's what the fuck is going on. They also wear a fucking collar to show that, you know, they are being handled. That's another thing as well. And also Mickey Mouse ears is another one. There's a lot, which I'll get into another fucking video. There's a lot of dark symbol. And as a child, I was a Disney fiend injected into my veins. Like I was so like, it was on replay constantly, and it was just like to know, like, anyway, there's a lot of dark symbolism in Disney films as well. They are pay attention to those companies that are buying up all these other smaller companies, or, you know, because there's only maybe like 6 top dogs out here, you know. Disney is one of them because they've just been scooping up everybody. Another thing is like they normally have like the hand over their eye. That could be like Illuminati type shit, or you know, just to show again like the duality between them, bouncing between different alter egos. Some people have multiple, like, you know, don't come at me, but whatever. Nicki Minaj, when she first started, how many alter egos did she have? She had Roman, she had, I don't even remember, but Roman was the main one that I remember. And she okay, so the thing is that they opened themselves up to they're vessels essentially, you know, and they opened themselves up when they signed those fucking contracts to allow a certain entity or individual to come into their body. And I will show interviews of individuals who, like, they've just that the way they've described this shit. So with Nicki, she was like, Roman, he's such an angry little boy, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? Anyway, monarch butterflies is another one. Normally you see them kind of in the background, or they appear as like some sort of accessory. Mirrors, if they're cracked or shattered, that's another thing to show, again, they're cracked, fractured personalities. Side note, oh wait, one quick thing. Normally they get reset around age 27 or 28. So think of how many artists have died around that age, or they kind of they're once they became that age, something switched, like something happened, like they kind like their style might be completely different, like something pretty significant happened around that time. But normally that's when they have to like send them to rehab and get them to, and, you know, start the reprogramming all over again. So bringing it to Kanye West, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to sit here and say that he is not bipolar, but he's one of those individuals. So of course and I will show examples of him saying that the Get Out movie, which is another example of MK Ultra, he said that Get Out was his life. Who the fuck is he dating? A white woman. He is dating, and it's a family of white, they say they're Armenian, but I don't know. I don't even know. Whatever. They're Caucasian to me. Whatever. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I also don't care. So again, he said that Get Out is his life, and, you know, and I remember when I know that he has tried to escape so many fucking times, and I'm sure it's so frustrating because people are like, oh my god, Kanye, we love you, yeah, woo. And it's like, people don't really, like, he is crying out for help. We can't help, to be honest, we really can't help him because he signed that contract. This is the life that he chose. That's hurting my eyes. But essentially it's like, for his rally that he did, the campaign rally, the tour that he did, and he said during one of them is like, you know, I'm gonna say some shit tonight and people are gonna make it seem like I'm fucking crazy. They're gonna make it seem like it's mental health. Soon after, didn't he go to rehab and everything? He started, you know, and then it's like he started endorsing Donald Trump or some shit. Like, I have to look at the timeline, but I'm pretty sure it every single time, because he says some wild shit, like, we think it's wild shit, but it's like, yo, are you okay, bro? And then he ends up going into rehab, and he's like, every time he's the one, and it's so evident he has tried to break out so many fucking times, but the Kardashians have a hold on this motherfucker. Like, this is why you don't be, again, they are another example of individuals who have been pushed in our fucking faces. And now we have, again, MK Ultra, mind control. They have young girls thinking that they are not beautiful unless they get lip injections, nose jobs, BBL, which, side note, a BBL is the most dangerous fucking procedure. Like, and I do feel like eventually more people are going to start trying to go more natural. They're going to try to start removing these things from their body. But again, they have young girls really out here thinking that they are ugly because they don't have this, and that, and third. No, it's because they are sitting here doing fucking rituals. They are sitting here pushing it into the media. They are pawns. This is the same thing with Marilyn Monroe, the first beta sex kitten. They are also under beta sex kittens. You know, they're all of them, you know, have had shoots or moments where they would be jumped and die. They're sex slaves, essentially. That's what I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, they really are. Because it's like as soon as, again, people follow what they say and what they do. When Kim released that sex tape, I said released. I was right. Anyway, when she released that sex tape, how many people afterwards started releasing sex tapes, or they accidentally leaked? There we go. That's what I meant to use the quotes for, but whatever. It's the same shit over and over again. And bringing it back to the Watchman, where Dr. Manhattan, okay, anyway, so Dr. Manhattan says that nothing ever ends. It's the same shit repeated over and over again, because again, like I mentioned, we are in the reality, we are in the matrix that they have created. They have used us to create the reality that they want, which is why it feels like we can never really progress. It feels like we are very stagnant as a collective, and it's just, again, we have to reprogram some shit. And again, in another video, I will explain how I kind of went through reprogramming my subconscious and healing and everything like that. Just something brief. Therapy is top of the list. Like, ever since I started therapy, I was like, I'm so committed to my healing and spreading these messages, because one thing about me is I want to heal. I wanted to stop feeling numb. I wanted to, like, I felt so, like, I felt so fucking numb, like I had functioning depression and shit. Not saying that I don't have depression, like it's completely gone, like I still deal with it from time to time, but I can handle it much differently. You know, most of the time it's like I simply just need to take a nap. You know, it never gets to that level where my body is like shut down for like a week straight. It's never been, you know, that level. You know, like with functioning depression, functioning anxiety, shit like that. It's like, just shout out to me. But shout out to my therapist and all of the other individuals that have really been showing me that putting your mental health is like, should be the top of your fucking list. Because you learn so much. And then also connecting with your ancestors. Oh my God. Connecting with them showed me what I needed to release, certain mindsets that weren't even my own. Like, it's some, oh my God, I'll get into that another time, but I'm just saying, like, I like, and going through this spiritual journey is not for the faint of heart. You got to be 10 toes down the entire time. You can take breaks, but you got to be 10 toes down to make sure you see through everything that you fucking put in. This shit is not easy. I don't want to discourage anybody, but it's not fucking easy. But I will say I am so grateful that I continue to put forth the effort, because the things that I know now, the way that I move now, the things that I've been able to attract into my life, I will never go back. I will never go back to the way things used to be. Like, it's just like a complete, like, I want to say, like, within like a year, it's like I'm damn near a completely different person. You know, not completely, but I'm still wild as fuck. But it's like, you know, it's very different. But it's just like, I went from being numb and dreading each and every fucking day, waking up in the morning, to now I'm like, I feel so excited. I feel so excited for life. I feel so excited to just do some new shit, try some new things out, you know. And on my page, I've shown like some sketches and stuff that I've done, like in a month's time. Like, I've always loved, I don't know. I'm kind of channeling and I'm just kind of going with the flow right now. So in a month's time, I've been able to improve my drawing skills. I've been able to create a lot of really amazing things, which I will eventually, you know, continue rolling out soon-ish. But I just like, I'm so, in this moment, I'm just really proud of myself. And it's like, this is why I do what I fucking do, is because I want other people to feel the same way. Because what they've told you and how they've told you to feel and move is not normal, and it completely goes against the laws of nature, the universal laws, and how God wants you to fucking move in this particular lifetime. So this is why I do what I do. This isn't a fucking game to me. Like, it's not. So bringing it back to MK Ultra type shit. So there was also Project Bluebird and Artichoke, and essentially they would use certain things, especially hypnosis and LSD, to produce amnesia, which another movie example is The Bourne Identity, and that whole actually there's like 5 fucking movies, I don't even remember, but he's a CIA agent, he's a trained assassin, and half the shit that he has done, he doesn't even fucking remember. Like, that shit is fucking crazy. And it's like, he does not remember. And it was only like certain moments, like in the first movie, his humanity snapped in, because he was supposed to assassinate someone, but then he saw his children, and he didn't go through with it. So, but again, it took him so long to remember what he did and how he, like, it was so wild. And it's like, can you imagine, like say for instance, the homeless veterans, who are, some of them are alcoholics. Can you imagine the shit that they remember now? Because, that shit is not, they're not under that same mind control or same shit. Like, can you imagine the shit that they remember? Like they're numbing something. They're trying to forget something, and just like, anyway. So that was something that they did for Bluebird and Artichoke. They also tried to release the same sort of thing using chemical warfare, but they did it by using dengue fever, which is, they use mosquitoes to distribute this particular drug. Which, do you guys remember Zika? Like, they keep repeating the same shit. Like, they're not even original anymore. They keep repeating the same shit. So it's just like, but yeah. So this is, and I mentioned with the movie from earlier, American Ultra, where it was this random ass civilian dude, and then all of a sudden he realized that he was a trained assassin as soon as he heard that trigger word. So they do this with random individuals who they perceive as dumb, and they get them to assassinate people. It could be politicians or certain leaders. It's like, there's so many conspiracy theorists or politicians or big people in technology and things like that, who are, some of them probably tried to blow the whistle or some shit. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There were so many different reasons for why this shit went down, but essentially they would use random ass people to, kill them off, and that was it. And then we also have Operation Midnight Climax, which they would use brothels to test, certain, they would test their drugs and shit on certain individuals who went into the brothels. So the reason why, also, let me bring it back to Prince, because he's mentioned in a couple interviews and shit like that, where he talked about, because he was raised in the hood. Me too. Like, I resonate so heavy with this shit. Like, he mentioned, like, so there's Operation Indigo Skyfold, aka chemtrails. And I remember someone tried to argue with me about, like, this shit not being real, but come to find out, he was in a rich neighborhood and it was a no-fly zone. So I was like, irrelevant. So but again, Prince mentioned chemtrails, and like there would be these planes, and they would have these like smoke trails behind them, and all of a sudden, like, people in the neighborhood would just be going buck wild.
I saw the State of the Black Union. Dick Gregory really moved me and a lot of my friends. I show it to everybody that comes over the house, especially white folks, because they need to hear that, so that they know more about all of us. Mm-hmm. Because what he said affects all of us. He said something that really hit home about this phenomena of chemtrails. And, you know, when I was a kid, I used to see these trails in the sky all the time and say, oh, that's cool. A jet just went over. And then you started to see a whole bunch of them. And the next thing you know, everybody in your neighborhood was fighting and arguing and you didn't know why. Okay? And you really didn't know why. I mean, everybody was fighting. So he started riffing about the chemtrails. And he started to say things that hit home so hard. And I would recommend that everybody try to get what he said online or wherever and try to get a copy of it and just listen to it. Because I was so moved that I had to write the song. The other thing is the first line of the song says I was born on the same plantation in the United States of the red, white, and blue. And we live in a place now that feels just about like a plantation. We're all indentured servants. You know, when I found out there were 8 presidents before George Washington, I wanted to smack somebody. You know, I wanted to know why I was taught otherwise.
You know, the bullshit that you see in the hood is a lot of it has to do with chemtrails. And so what they would do is they would have, you know, aluminum oxide, barium salts, poisonous chemicals and stuff like that released into the atmosphere. Another thing that they use is like, the thing that you need to know is like with the military, their technology is 50 to 100 years ahead of what we see now. So it's like, you know, the new iPhone just came out and they're already like, they probably have a chip in their brain where they receive, you know, it's so much shit. Like it's so essentially, the reason why I brought this up is because, first of all, Prince was another one of those individuals where they say that he died, but or it was suicide, and I'm pretty sure they, you know, they took him out. So the thing about chemtrails is like, of course they release the toxins, but they also release nanobots as well. So nanobots are real. Don't listen to what these motherfuckers tell you. They are real. And there was I'm not gonna show the video because it was so fucking gross. Essentially they were saying in the video, if you swish around in your mouth wine, then I think you add like grape juice or something like that. I think you use either or. And then you add alcohol to it, the shit will move. Like there's shit in your spit that will fucking move. And it was like, I want to show the video, but I can't. Like you can look it up yourself. I'm not showing it. I can't look at it again. I cannot. So these nanobots can be controlled remotely. So another form of control, another form of something that we don't even know. Like we don't, and I'll show, these motherfuckers have badges and everything. Like they're the fucking Girl Scouts. Like they really be, they really like, okay, so bringing it back, one of the most modern examples of these companies that kind of have a front as if they're doing something nice for the community and doing something nice for the world, but they're really not. This is their front to test shit, is DARPA. So they started in 1958 and their budget is their yearly budget $3 trillion. If you want to know where your taxpayer, if you want to know where your taxes are going. So they also donate $100 million to the White House. So, they have this thing called the Brain Initiative, which is brain research through advancing innovative neurotechnologies. Like I mentioned before, nanobots. They also have a base in Mexico, and people, I'll put something up right here, but the people in Mexico go missing all the fucking time. all the time. And then they end up embedding chips into their brains. They end up embedding nanobots into them and shit like that in order to test to see if this shit works. And so I remember Elon Musk started to show videos of what he's been doing with nanotechnologies, because he had some pigs and he had the sensors in their nose. Do not get these chips in your fucking body. Do not do this shit. Don't. This is like when you really think about it, who has the remote to this shit? You don't fucking know them. It could be anybody. Don't do this shit. So bringing it and then so I'm gonna switch gears for a quick sec, but it all kind of it still kind of correlates. So another thing I mentioned before with the music and the Black community, again, for me, music is my love language, and so I have to be very careful of what I listen to and how long I listen to shit, because and the thing is, the frequency that things are played is the standard for music right now, and this was initiated in 1953. All of these look at all these things correlate. It was initiated in 1953 in the International Standard Organization of Music, and now they push these things to where it's endorsed around the world, is that music should be tuned to 440 hertz. Many people call it the devil's frequency, and the reason why is that the studies have shown that when you listen to 440 hertz, it creates an unhealthy effect. It creates antisocial behavior in the consciousness of humans. And then it also, this is the war against people, and people don't even know. People don't even fucking know. Which is why it's like, if you play, like, if you were say for instance, if you listen to, because I was talking to my little brother and he was talking about how he felt after listening to NBA YoungBoy, and he felt so aggressive and angry and shit like that. And so perfect example, if you listen to his shit, 24/7, you are going to be more aggressive. You are going to be more irritable. You are going to be, more depressed and things like that. And this is something that, this is something that one of the Nazi propaganda ministers, Joseph Goebbels, I don't know. This is something that he was testing, and like I said, it's used to get people to think, feel, do, and keep them as a prisoner in the subconscious, keep their conscious mind prisoners, which is why a lot of people make irrational decisions sometimes. They could be very indecisive, or they just do shit off of impulse. It's just a lot of shit. It's so involved, Lord Jesus. And 440 hertz goes completely against one of the laws of nature as well. The frequency that you should be listening to is 432. That's where so all my musicians out there, tune your shit to 432 and just pay attention to how you feel like when you're listening to this shit. Like, it's so, like, I'm playing, if you can hear it, I'm playing 432 right now. So hopefully throughout this video you felt hella chill, because that's what I try to play more frequencies in the background than music normally. But the thing about 432, and I have tested this out. I have done this myself for almost a year now, and it helps with healing. It calms the mind. It helps you to balance between the left and the right hemispheres of the brain, so the logic and the more creative side, which is yin and yang, masculine and feminine. Again, those energies coming back up again. It also helps you to be a little bit more spontaneous. You're more peaceful, and it also helps you to release negative energies and anxiety. So again, and also when we get into the conversations about the Great Pyramids and Stonehenge and things of that nature, it's all mathematical on a level much deeper than you think. Like, I don't know if you know this, but one of the pyramids has 8 sides. 8 fucking sides, you know? So it's sometimes you can't really tell unless the sun is at a certain angle. But anyway, so it's like all of that shit's mathematical. It's they, you know, our ancient ancestors did not do this shit by mistake. Every single thing was done with intention. Every single thing was done in a certain manner. So the fact that music is tuned at 440 hertz is, again, this is another way that it's another part of this agenda where we're kept in this same frame of mind. We're kept at this lower frequency. I'll talk about frequencies a lot. I will talk about it more when we get into the conversation of chakras, and you know how the chakras correlate to your endocrine system. Yes, I said that right. Endocrine system. But let me read this one quote from Dr. Leonard Horowitz. He wrote in the Musical Cult Control article, and he said the music industry features this imposing frequency, which is herding populations into greater aggression, psychosocial agitation, as well as emotional predisposing people to some physical illnesses as well, enhancing materialism, hostility, and disconnects humans from nature. And like I said before, this is a crime against nature. Like enhances materialism. What do most of these songs talk about? You know, Birkin bags, getting money, getting these chains, dime, all that shit. And again, you are allowed to have luxury, but the way that people are going about getting this life, it's not that when you don't get shit the right way, it is taken from you just like that. And we have seen it time and time again. These artists try to rush their career and sign these 360 deals, and then within like a year or less, we don't know who the fuck they are. And then they try to do all this outrageous shit like OnlyFans and doing these weird ass fucking boxing matches. To get, like, they do whatever they can to get attention, like, and that's how they try to keep this money going. Like, they don't have the money that you think they fucking have. It's a loan. It is a loan. And I have a lot of videos in the works, so like please bear with me. But yeah, so this just like, so all this to say, yeah, because watching The Watchman really inspired this particular conversation, because again, there's so many things where we get distracted and we don't realize what the real issue is. The real issue that we have, the main thing that you have to focus on, and this is something else that Prince said too. Something that he mentioned is that when we watch the media and we get so down and we feel so depressed and feel so helpless, and that's intentional, and the reason why is because we see how chaotic things are going, but like at our core, we are very loving individuals. We only want to receive love. We only want to give off love. We crave it. We crave it so much. We crave unconditional love so much. But first you have to give that to yourself. And again, this is something I remind myself every single fucking day. You know, anything that I talk about, these are things that I've experienced or I've done my heavy research on. So it's like, first of all, you have to pay attention to what you actually need. You don't need a Gucci belt to feel happy. You don't need a Birkin to feel happy. Those things, it's temporary. Like I mentioned with these artists who their fame is very temporary. It's like they don't even care anymore. They don't even care to build a legacy anymore, which is so like why the fuck, like, it's like, what are you, like, you're not building anything. All you were doing is being a puppet for Satan. That's all you're doing. That's literally all you're doing. And they show you, I'll put up some pictures, they show you through symbolism and imagery and shit like that who the fuck they serve. And then they want to say, I'm God's child. And I'm like, I don't know what God you fucking serving, but not my Jesus. Anyway, but it's just like, they tell you They tell you in the media what they're doing. They do all this shit. And for black people, I really need y'all to stand the fuck up. I really need y'all to see that, like, this is all a fucking game. This is all a fucking game. They would not work this fucking hard to make us feel less than if we were not more than enough. If we were not more capable of doing we built this fucking country for, I mean, we're not the only, of course, like, we were the majority in this instance, but we built this fucking country for God's sake. Like, TikTok would not be a thing without black creatives. Point blank, motherfucking period. Yeah, cause like, I forgot the name, I'm blanking on the name of the song, but normally when a new song comes out, they have some black creator creates a dance, and then some Mayo sapien comes through and tries to replicate what they've seen, and it's like, oof. And so the one song that Meg released, why am I blanking on the song? I don't know. Anyway, this was their dance. And I was like, okay, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. But anyway, I'm just trying to point these things out because we need to take back our motherfucking power. Specifically, I'm talking to black people. But for whoever these messages resonate, I'm talking to you too. And it's not as difficult as you think. So it's like what Prince said, is like, we are looking at the media and we feel as though we have to be Superman or Batman or whatever in order to accomplish these goals. But in reality, all you have to do is focus on what you got going on right here. Focus on healing so you don't inflict other bullshit, or, inflict the same shit that you've gone through onto other people. And as an example with recycling is a huge issue. Make sure that you're using fair trade products. There's a lot out there. Make sure that you're using recyclable stuff. Make sure that you're recycling the correct way. So it's like, if you take care of what you got to take care of in your home, you're doing so much with just that. Like, it's just that, because you are one drop in the ocean. One drop. And that's it. And that's, so what you feel is necessary for you, do that. And that's all you have to focus on doing. And that's something I have to remind myself all the time. It's like, that's it. That's all you got to do. Focus on you. And then make sure that you're, again, making decisions with intention. Make sure that you are buying things with intention. Make sure that you are buying things that, if you use the product, it's good for your skin. Because side note, things with fragrances, fragrances, and this is like legal, they can have approximately like 3,000 chemicals under that umbrella. So it's like no telling what's in there. So again, pay attention to what you're buying. I will say that some companies use fragrance as like a way to say like perfect. But again, there's certain, they kind of just say it and don't really explain what that means, but just be cautious of what you buy. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, so this is a great series, The Watchman, and I will be using more of this series to point out certain things along with other movies and TV shows. So if you stuck with me this long, I really appreciate you, and I really, please, definitely share this video because I feel as though this information is very important. And I need people to know that, like, we can't continue to play their game. It's like they set us up for failure, like, a long time ago, and we can't keep doing this. And this is why before I've mentioned that, like, my grandfather was a Freemason, and he's really been putting me on to, like, what these motherfuckers do behind the scenes. And it's unacceptable. It's completely unacceptable, and it's time for us to really take back our power. And I feel that we are moving into that phase collectively where we're going to really, like, be doing the damn thing. So I think that's all I wanted to say, to be honest. So I know that was a lot, and I hope that this video was enjoyable. But yeah, I'll definitely include some as much information as I possibly can, you know, throughout my social media page and YouTube page as well. So definitely check that out. You know, where you can find me is, the link is in my bio on my Instagram. I'll definitely have that everywhere you need. So yeah. But yeah, so that's it. Wishing you guys all the best, sending love. And again, I'm not trying to spread this information because I want to incite fear in anyone. I want you to understand that we are much more powerful than we think. And they have used our power to create the reality that feels more comfortable for them. But the most valuable thing that we have is time. So how are you using your time wisely? How are you using your time to benefit your life instead of benefiting theirs? And once you start kind of going down that particular frame of mind and figuring things out, I promise you, life is gonna feel much more different, you know, because it definitely does feel like heaven. Like, it does feel like hell on earth type shit, but you can experience your heaven on earth. And I can attest to that 100%, 110%. Like, I can't even so good luck, everyone. Sending you all love. Just sending you love. That's all I can say. So signing off.